So today, we're exploring one of the biggest questions humans have asked for thousands of years. What happens after we die? Specifically, we'll look at the ideas about heaven, hell, and the afterlife. People across different cultures and religions have imagined different versions of the afterlife, and even those who don't follow any particular religion still wonder about life after death. Are we rewarded or punished for our actions? Or do we live on in some form, or is death the end? Let's dive into those ideas and think about what they mean for us. First, let's talk about heaven. For many religious traditions, heaven is a place of eternal happiness and peace. It's often described as a paradise where you are close to God or experience the ultimate peace and joy. In Christianity, for example, heaven is seen as a reward for those who live according to God's will. People imagine heaven as a beautiful, perfect place where pain, suffering, and death no longer exist. It's a place where you can be with your loved ones and where everything is good and peaceful. Many believe that those who follow moral or religious guidelines will go to heaven after they die. Heaven is often portrayed as a goal, something to strive for in life. It gives people hope and comfort, especially in times of struggle, knowing that there may be something better after death. Next, let's consider hell. Hell is often seen as the opposite of heaven, a place of punishment and suffering. In many religious traditions, hell is where those who do wrong, sin, or reject certain beliefs are sent after they die. In Christianity, for example, hell is described as a place of eternal separation from God, full of fire and torment. People in hell suffer as a punishment for their wrongdoings during their lives. Hell is often used as a warning to encourage people to behave in ways that are considered morally or religiously correct. So for some, the idea of hell is a way of reinforcing the importance of good actions and the fear of consequences for wrongdoing. However, not all religions believe in hell. Some traditions, like certain forms of Buddhism, view suffering after death in a more symbolic or temporary way rather than as a permanent place of torment. So what's the truth about the afterlife? For thousands of years, people have asked, what happens to us once we die? Are heaven and hell real places, or are they simply ways to explain life after death? Many religions promise some kind of continuation after death. In Hinduism, for instance, there's the belief in reincarnation, that after death, the soul is reborn in a new body, and the cycle continues until one reaches moksha, which is the liberation from the cycle of rebirth. In contrast, some people believe that after death, the soul enters heaven or hell based on the life they lived. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism often teach that our actions, faith, and the relationship with God during our life will determine our fate after death. For those who don't follow a specific religion, the afterlife might be seen in other ways. Some atheists and agnostics believe that death is the end of consciousness. There is no afterlife, and we simply cease to exist. A key question that often comes up with these ideas is what determines who goes to heaven or hell. In many religions, people are judged by how they live their lives, whether they follow moral rules or religious guidelines. For example, in Christianity, faith in Jesus and living a life of love and kindness is seen as a way to reach heaven. In Islam, following the teachings of the Quran and living a righteous life is essential for getting into the paradise, also known as Jannah. But what about those people who don't follow any specific religion? Do they still go to heaven or hell? Many people wrestle with these questions, and different religions offer different answers. Some people believe in the idea of universal salvation, meaning that everyone can find peace in the afterlife, no matter what religion they follow during their life. And this raises an interesting issue about the relationship between morality and salvation. Do good people go to heaven regardless of their belief? Or is it the belief itself the deciding factor? The ideas of heaven and hell can also affect how we live our lives. If we believe in a heaven that rewards good behaviour and a hell that punishes bad behaviour, we may feel some sense of personal responsibility to do what's right in life. For many people, the promise of heaven and the fear of hell can act as powerful motivators. But it also raises questions. Are we only good because we want a reward? Or are we good for the sake of being good? In other words, if people are good only because they want to go to heaven or avoid hell, does that really make them virtuous? Some argue that living a moral life should be doing what's right, regardless of what happens after death. Others may feel that the afterlife provides a sense of justice, making it worth living a good life now, knowing there will be consequences after death. The belief in heaven, hell, and the afterlife is deeply tied to faith. Most people who believe in these ideas do so because of religious teachings or personal experiences that confirm their faith. But for others, these concepts raise doubts. If we cannot prove the existence of heaven or hell through science, does that mean they aren't real? Some people may struggle with the idea of an afterlife because there's no tangible evidence of it. Yet for many, belief in an afterlife is about hope, faith, and comfort in the face of life's uncertainties. And this brings us back to the core question: why do we care about what happens after we die? For many, it's not just about the details of the afterlife, but about finding meaning, purpose, and a moral framework for the living in the here and now. So in conclusion, heaven, hell, and the afterlife are ideas that have shaped human culture, religion, and morality for centuries. Whether we believe in a literal afterlife, reincarnation, or just the idea of eternal peace, the concept of what happens after death continues to provide comfort, guidance, and questions. So these ideas are also tied to how we live today, how we treat others, and how we understand our actions. The mystery of what happens after we die is something that we may never get an answer to, but it's a question that continues to inspire us, challenge us, and help us find meaning in life.